Hi, I'm Ben Quiggle, editor of Woodall's Campground Magazine. And of course, my esteemed colleague Mike Gast is here, co host, former vice president of communications at Campgrounds of America. And he writes for a number of different publications, including the Glamping Show USA's Glamping Business Americas. So it's great to see you again, Mike.
Yeah,
And
and Ben even throws me a check once in a while. So when he doesn't want to write anymore.
And then our guest today is Jennifer Mercer, Director of Development for Care Camps, which is just a great charity. I guess, Jennifer, maybe we'll let you describe a little bit about what Care Camps does.
Oh, I actually want to hear Mike give the sales pitch for Care Camp. How many years did you have to do that at KOAU, Mike?
Oh, well, just about, probably all 20 years I was with KOA. And it was a highlight of the year when I got to go down to Florida every year for the board meeting, and meet with those great board members we had. And it was fun because KOA started Care Camps, and you'll get into that, but it was really an KOA owner driven charity for a lot of years before it branched out and got into the things you're into now. So it's got deep roots at KOA and still is a big deal at KOA.
Yes. So what Care Camps is an amazing charity that was originally founded by campground owners. So KOA franchisees, the actual KOA Owners Association started Care Camps 39 years ago. And these campground owners wanted to start something to help children going through cancer get to experience the healing power of the outdoors. And they started doing campground fundraisers to raise money to send these kids to these amazing special pediatric oncology camps. And today our campground owners are still our biggest source of support. But the cool thing is KOA corporate actually donates, they cover 100% of Care Camp's administrative costs, so that all of our other donations from the campground owners go to actually helping the kids get to camp. So we now have donors. KOA has been the biggest cheerleader of bringing in other campgrounds and other outdoors businesses. Some of our glamping enterprises and the RV industry, marine industry, dealerships are all involved. And quite honestly, there are so many kids that need our help that they cover all the administrative costs, so that when people decide they want to do a fundraiser or give, all of that money goes to help the kids, which is pretty awesome.
I think it's just been amazing over the last few years, especially just to see the way the RV industry's gotten really involved. I mean, they've done a lot of neat things for KOA Care Camps over the last few years, and that's been great to see the RV industry, I think, jump in, because I think when it was KOA branded, was that always the case, I guess, Jennifer?
No, our first RV partnership came it was just less than 3 years ago that Forest River joined, and Thor had made a donation. Both of those partnerships happened about 3 years ago. Forest River has been a huge partner for Care Camps. Actually, you'll see a sticker on the side of every unit that they produce now, and they're proud partners. So you'll see a little sticker on the side that says, it's like Forest River plus Care Camps is helping kids, making memories, something like that. And so every unit that they sell, they help send a kid to camp, which is pretty awesome.
So Jennifer, let's talk about the camps for just a second, because one of the questions I always got at KOAU and even throughout the industry was, so my campground has to host a cancer camp for kids. That's not it. This is a network of really well-established, medically safe camps throughout North America that Care Camp supports.
Yes. So these are medically supervised oncology camps. So if you picture a really amazing summer camp, like a Boy Scout camp or a Girl Scout camp, a church camp, but our camps typically have doctors and nurses. You may see kids around a campfire, but picture chemo, they may be getting chemotherapy while they're at camp, or they may need blood transfusions or medications. They're typically going to have an infirmary at these camps, because most of our kids are obviously yeah, whether they're in active treatment or they're in remission, they have very special medical needs. And so our camps are very special to meet both the physical needs as well as the very special emotional needs. So it's not held at a typical campground. It's held at in a summer camp facility where they can get the medical care they need. So hospitals are partners with our camps, and they partner right alongside with these camps to make sure the kids have everything they need, both physically and emotionally.
How have the camps been doing? I know quite a few of them had to shut down or change what they were doing for the COVID pandemic. And I guess, how are they doing coming out of that? Are a lot of them back in business and kids are able to go in?
Yeah. Well, just like for the rest of us, COVID was a really hard time, right? For kids with cancer, it was horrible. Yeah, these kids are immunocompromised, and for their whole family, parents had to stop going to work. Their siblings had to stop going to school because they couldn't risk bringing home germs to kiddos that are sick. And so today, the really great news is our camps were still able to happen this year, which was amazing. Our camps are always the happiest place on earth. When you go to these camps, these kids have been through so much. And when you go to camp, that kids will tell you camp is better than Disneyland. And that's always one of my favorite lines from one of our kiddos. But it's even better after COVID because they have been so lonely. They've been so isolated over this last 2 years. They have never appreciated camp as much as they do right now because this has been such a period of isolation for them. So camp this year was really, really, oh man. And the people that put on camps, most of them are all cancer survivors too. And so their appreciation for what this was like, they could not wait to get back to in-person camps. There were definitely some struggles this year. We had a whole bunch of camps where the camp director came down with COVID, or the medical director or nurses. We had kids that couldn't come last minute because they got COVID. And so there were some real challenges that they had a lot of restrictions put on them, and they had to go with the flow. This was a challenging year, but they figured out how to make it happen. And boy, seeing the smiling faces, we've gotten so many fun photos and videos already. Normally we don't even get the photos and videos for a while, but we've already started getting them coming in, and it's so flippin' cute to see these kids. Oh my gosh.
There's still a link with the oncology association, the oncology camp association for kids, right?
COCA. Yep. Absolutely. Better than ever. They're amazing. So we'll be at their convention this year. So Care Camps funds the Children's Oncology Camping Association, and it's a wonderful partnership. What COCA does is actually provide professional training and development for all the camps. They also go and in-person certify all the camps. So we can know when we provide dollars to fund these programs that they are providing the necessary medical and psychosocial needs for the kids, that the money is going where it's supposed to be going, and that it's a healthy environment for the kids. We know that these camps are following best practices. That's a really, really positive program. We call it Gold Ribbon Accreditation. So all of the camps to receive funding need to be accredited. It's a great process, and it helps our donors know that when they give money to Care Camps, that any of the money is going to fund programs that are they're safe and healthy places for these kids to really find healing in the outdoors.
So maybe you mentioned the makeup of the board a little bit too, Jennifer, the Care Camps board itself. I know when I got involved, it was all KOA owners, and that has loosened up considerably and broadened now. And there's a lot of industry people, a lot of medical professionals that sit on that board.
Yes. So it's pretty fun. We actually have a former member of the American Cancer Society that sits on our board, Rebecca. Wade Elliott, who owns an electrical supply company. He's our board chairman. He was a great partner with campgrounds all across the U.S. The Wizard of Watts, great Wade. We still have some KOA owners on our board, but we're going to be welcoming a new board member. So Jeff Rodino from Patrick Industries is joining our board. He's a wonderful human being. Great man. We have a really diverse group of folks with a great broad range of skills. from both the campground industry and other industries as well in the outdoors industry, and other executive functions that are helping us grow this charity, because quite honestly, the need is so much more than we're able to fill right now. We've got some real work to do to meet the needs of these kids.
Yeah, definitely. I know you talked a little bit at last year's Gateway convention about that financial need. I guess, have these camps like recovered from the COVID financial gap, or are they still recovering from that and then they're seeing more kids come in?
Yeah. So the good news was this year we were actually able to give more than we have ever given before to support our camps. And we were so excited, Mike. Karen and I were literally like kids like on Christmas when we were talking about the grant dollars that we would be able to give out this year. This is what we work for all year, right? This is our passion. We live and breathe this every day, helping. We're talking about how many kids and how many families this is going to impact. And then we got the grant requests in, and the numbers had skyrocketed because, quite honestly, during COVID, every year the number of kids who need our help, we know those numbers go up. The great news is that the number of kids who are surviving their cancer has been improving because our treatments are getting better. Quality of life for kids on treatments is getting better to where more kids are able to come to camp. But our programs are also starting to recognize the fact that when a child is diagnosed with cancer, and you close your eyes and imagine the day you're at a doctor's office and you're told that you have cancer, that's the worst news that you can imagine. Unless you're told that your child has cancer, like you have cancer is bad enough, but the day you are told your child has cancer is worse. And so the day that people find out their kids have cancer is the worst day of that parent's life. And it's also the worst day of their siblings' lives. And so now our camp programs have started to include siblings because they become invisible just like that. The day that their brother or sister is diagnosed with cancer, they're shoved off to, if they're lucky, grandma or grandpa's house. If they're not lucky, a neighbor's house or a friend's house for 2 years, 3 years, while mom and dad are focused on helping the other child survive. 90% divorce rate for parents who are going through this. And so our camps are really broadening their scope to try and help the whole family. And what that means is this year we were only able to meet 49% of our grant requests. That's the lowest percentage in many years. And that was honestly, I think, kind of a gut punch for me. We were doing the happy dance when we originally thought we were going to be able to fund more of these programs. And then we realized that percentage was so much lower. We have a long ways to go, guys, before we can say that we're helping every one of these kids find the healing that they need. There's a lot of ways to go.
And there's so many, as you mentioned, the family effects. There's so many things that most people don't think about when a kid has cancer, that the setback in their development. Some of these kids are spending years in a hospital setting, and they don't get to go to the dances. They don't get to go to the social activities that all these elementary school kids do, the junior high experience. They might have missed that completely. And so it's also, I visited a lot of camps in my time at KOA in the summertime, and it was always amazing to watch these kids bloom because they had never been in a setting before where they were like everybody else.
Yeah.
They were always the different one. And oftentimes cancer takes limbs from it. You see kids without lower legs, or without a piece of their arm, or they're missing a hand or fingers, and or they had lost the sight of an eye. There was all sorts of handicaps for that, and it always made them so different. And all of a sudden, they were put into a setting where they were like everybody else, and they were treated like everybody else. And by day 2 or 3, you see these kids just blossom. And we had a remarkable time down in Arizona several years ago when we brought a chorus in from one of the camps to perform at our KOA convention. And Ben, you'll appreciate this. I had Sherman Goldenberg, your boss, there with me that time. And Sherman was a bawling mess. He had tears streaming down his face by the time that was over. And out came the checkbook, which is exactly what the point of it was. But it's always stunning to see the the impact these camps had. And almost all these medical professionals you talk to that are involved in the camps say that this is a critical part of the treatment program. It's written right into their records whether they're going to camp or not, because they know that the leap that these kids will take in their development and their healing if they get to go to camp.
Yeah. Most of our kids say the hardest part of their cancer journey is not being in the hospital. It's not the chemo or the radiation. It's after cancer, because when they go back to school, they will forever look at life differently than their friends. You know, their friends are worried about what boy likes them or what girl likes them or what movie they're going to that weekend. And these kids are wondering, when is my cancer coming back? You know, they've had to think about such grown-up things. You know, they've had to worry about life or death things. They've had to hold in their feelings because they don't want to talk to mom and dad about what's bothering them, because they see that it makes their mom cry or it makes their dad sad. And so they don't want to make their family sad. So they just don't talk about it. But when they go to camp, like Mike said, everyone there just understands. They don't have to explain anything to any of those other kids. They all just get it. And it's so funny. Like he said, after a couple of days, they start like, they don't even have to talk about this stuff. They just get it and they fit in with one another. And these kids, 20 years later, when they're getting married, the people in their wedding are people that they met at camp when they were 8 years old. It's the coolest thing. It's literally, the kids say, camp didn't just change my life. Camp saved my life. And I think that's been so gratifying. I left camp. I went to 3 camps this summer, and it was the best experience of my life. It was also the hardest, because it really makes you realize what a transformative experience it is for the kids.
And you talked about the program changes because of God bless, the survivability rate has gone up on these kids, but that also brings in new problems because they don't have the life skills. And so some of these camps have had to develop life skills classes really to teach them how to cook, how to do their own laundry, how to clean their rooms. It gets down to some very basic things because they've been they've been handled by the medical profession for so long. They missed all that. They missed all that. Not just the social interaction, but just the life skills development. And kids that probably didn't have a prognosis to make it to 21 are living much longer now and living normal lifespans. And to be able to hit that, the 19, 20, 20-year-old getting ready to go to college barrier and not have any of the skills that the normal kid would have as they went through the process, they play catch up at these camps, and it's another vital service.
Yeah. And our camps are now realizing the blessing with COVID is they finally recognize they could actually serve these kids year round. And that was the silver lining of COVID, is they realized they could actually do cabin chats with the counselors, and the kids would connect with their counselors. 2 or 3 or 5 kids could connect on Zoom every month. And they could talk through some of the hard issues, and they could actually work on life skills development and talking about the hard stuff year round, as opposed to just once a year at camp. And those have been tremendous blessings. They're now doing in-hospital programs that they didn't realize were really possible. They've created an in-hospital camp experience. So they send Camp in a Box to kids who are not able to come to a camp program at a summer camp facility, but they send them all these fun camp things, and they get to do camp for 2 weeks in the hospital. And parents say that this is the best thing. They haven't heard their kids giggle or laugh in months, and they are so excited to call and tell us that their child is laughing. They hear their kiddo giggling when they walk down the hallway, and it's the happiest sound they've heard in forever. And it's awesome. It's so fun.
Well, that's great. Yeah. I think another part of this on the campground side is you have done a fantastic job of helping put kits together for, I guess you call it fundraising kits that campground owners can use. I guess we can put the link up so the park owners know where to go. I guess just explain a little bit what's involved with like doing a fundraiser at a campground, or how campgrounds can get involved, I guess.
Thank you. Ben, can I just say thank you so much for remembering? Okay, so when I went to my very first convention, one of the things that I found out is that there were a lot of campground owners that said, I would love to be able to help with this, but I have no idea. I don't know how to fundraise. I'm not a fundraiser. And one of them told me, I tried to do a fundraiser and I actually spent more money putting on the fundraiser than I did make. I didn't make any money. I actually lost money. So I don't know what to do. So that was a really interesting takeaway for me. So we actually came home and built, we being me, came home and built a fundraising toolkit. And the idea is if your campground is interested in helping a child get to camp, if you want to help, if you pick just one of these fundraisers, you can download a kit. Thanks. This is great. The top 3 that are the most lucrative would be the 50-50 raffle or the weekly prize raffle, either raffle option. The weekly ice cream social. Weekly events are by far the most lucrative. The campgrounds that have knocked it out of the park and raise, like, they always blow me away with their fundraising. They do the simplest events. They're usually never the glamorous, like, wow, fancy events. It's the basic. We do this every Saturday and it's really basic and they have it down to a science. And what they've done is they've built a culture of caring into their campground. Their guests know every time they come to stay at the campground, they know to expect this. If they have seasonals, the seasonals love it. And oftentimes you can talk your seasonals, if you have them, or your long-term guests, into volunteering. They might sell the raffle tickets for you or volunteer to serve the ice cream at the social. But the ice cream social, the raffles, or even just a front desk donation ask, you can, during check-in, ask a guest if they'd like to, we're proud to support care camps and help kids with cancer get to camp. Would you like to make a small donation and help too? I think we're also used to that. People are, if you ask them out loud, people are almost 10 times more likely to give. If you just have a cash box sitting there, the research shows that less than 10% of people will give. If you ask them out loud, the research shows that almost 90% of people will give, and they'll give over twice as much. I don't know if it's the guilt factor, but those are simple things you can do. Your campground can also sign up to support care camps on Amazon Smile. So when you buy stuff on Amazon, it's just an automatic, it doesn't cost you anything extra. It's just when you buy purchases on Amazon, that I think it's 0.5% of your purchases would support care camps. And there's also, like, every one of these little toolkits, when you click on it, it would download, it'll give you an instruction sheet, posters. It'll actually give you a letter to request volunteer support from a local group. So I always tell people, work smarter, not harder. If your campground is understaffed, like every other campground I know, oftentimes doing fundraisers sounds like a lot of work. You can even download videos if you have a TV screen in your lobby, or if you do movie nights, you can play those before your movie night. But the fundraising toolkits have a letter that you can send to a local civic group like Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or Kiwanis or Rotary, asking them to partner with you and say, we're proud to, we want to partner and with you and raise money to help kids with cancer get to camp. Would you guys be willing to partner with us and supply some volunteers to do this event? We need 2 volunteers every Saturday. We have quite a few campgrounds that have figured out how to do fundraisers without actually doing the work, which is great. They can raise a lot of money simply by being really smart about it. So, or involve your seasonals and get them to sign up instead. So,
and I want to reiterate too that although this started as a KOA charity, this is not KOA campground exclusive. This is for everybody now.
Yes. And that's been a really great thing, Mike. Toby from KOA has been really wonderful about she's spoken to campground owners from lots of different, at Arvik, she's spoken about care camps. And we have campgrounds all across North America, in the US and Canada, that are supporting us. 4 Points RV Resorts has been, oh my gosh, they're doing super fun fundraisers for care camps. The British Columbia Camping and Lodging Association has been passionate supporters. They've gotten behind care camps and have had a bunch of campgrounds raising funds for care camps. It's really fun to see that happen because, quite honestly, we need your help to make this happen for the kids. The number of kids who need our support is just so much more. So if you're interested, we'd love to have you on board, and we'd love your suggestions. If you have any ideas on what else What do you need to make this happen? We'd love your ideas.
Have you like, I go to places sometimes and they ask me to round up my change or whatever. Have you seen campgrounds do that or anything?
Yes, it depends on the system that they have. It depends on some credit card systems will charge a separate fee for the roundup, which ends up being that doesn't work. But if you have a system that will allow that, that's an awesome way to do it. And pretty much everyone says yes to a roundup. So that's a kind of an easy way to automatically raise money. Another thing that we've actually had a couple of campgrounds do that they feel like really good about is they just built a small donation into their nightly price. So they said, I just want to bake a donation into the price. And then they put on their site descriptions, every night you stay with us, you're helping a child with cancer get to camp. When you stay with us, we make a donation to care camps. And so guests feel good about staying with them. Cause marketing is proven to actually increase your business. So it's a feel good for your customers. They actually do weekly updates for their staff as well. So their staff sees how much money they're able to donate. So their staff feels good, and that's a good team builder for their team. But it's also an automatic. So it's really easy for their bookkeeping. It's just built into their books, and they just cut a check at the end of every month automatically in QuickBooks. So that's like one of the easiest things you can do. So you could add 50 cents or $1 to your cost of a camper night and just build it into your price. I thought that was pretty ingenious. I haven't had any original ideas. Our campgrounds always come up with the good ideas.
I think it's also important just to let park owners know that every amount helps.
Absolutely.
Even if you can't raise like $10,000 or $20,000 over a weekend, any amount helps. So.
Yeah. And what I figured out is the campgrounds that are really successful have figured out it's the small incremental things done over and over again over time that are not only more successful for the charity, but more successful for them, because it does build a culture that their campers like and their employees like. They really appreciate that. And today's workforce, one of the things I encourage all campgrounds to do is if you're giving back in your communities, make sure to put in your job postings. We're proud to support, whether it's care camps. We started telling our campgrounds to say in their job ads, at the end of the ad, say, we're proud to support care camps and help kids with cancer get to camp. When you join our team, you get to be a part of this too, because it's great morale. And what they're seeing is the research shows that over 80% of the younger generation, that's really important to them. And a lot of people will choose one company over another or one job over another when they see one. They get to be a part of giving back. If you're already giving, put that out there for them and share it, because it's great. It's a great feel good. All of us like to be a part of giving back.
What's been kind of challenging for care camps? I know we've talked about the challenges that the actual camps have and the financial gap there. I guess, is there anything that the actual care camps organization is working through, or, what's the future look like, I guess?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a super, I think one of the challenges is just figuring out how to raise awareness and getting people to do something. I think one of the challenges is we all want to do something, but there's always more things to get done in the day than we have time to get done. So how can I convince someone to just pick one thing, just do one thing? You don't have to do all the things. You don't have to do all 16 fundraisers on that fundraising toolkit. Would you just do one thing? Whether it's just write a check or add 50 cents a camper night or do one thing. If we can get people to get past the inertia, that's been the hardest part. Is we have a lot of people that want to give back and want to make a difference, and they just keep talking about it, but getting that to actually happen has probably been the biggest challenge. So if you have any suggestions, that would be great. Because I think everybody wants to feel good about stuff, but we all have too much to do. At the end of the day, it's just figuring that out.
I know what you have to do, Jennifer. You have to take that video that you play every year at the KOA conference and visit every single campground and play the video for people. And then have like a little contract or something and have them sign it right there, right after the video. So that's what you have to
You
figure
want
out.
me to play the video, Ben? I can
No,
play
I'm
the
good.
video now.
So, I think that would work. So you just have to visit every single campground. That's not
I know.
cheap.
Well, I've said, like, my retirement plan. I so badly want to buy a drivable, like a Class C RV, and cover it in Care Camp's graphics. I want one of the ones that you can pop the TV out on the side, so I can play the video at the campgrounds and just drive around the country. And like, I've already got this like Mexican fiesta theme craziness with lights planned, and it'll be a party everywhere, and people will want to come and learn about Care Camps because we'll make it fun.
Don't wait. Just do it now. Just do it now. Just go to
Yeah.
Forest River and tell them you want a Class C. You get going.
Yep.
That'd be awesome.
They've got a whole bunch of them in the parking lot right now.
Right. I'll call Garrett and just get him right on that. That's my dream. I think that would be amazing, because I think you're right. I think when people learn about it, they want to help. And and I think part of it is just learning what can I do to make it easier for people to get involved. We tried to do the fundraising toolkit, and if there's anything else that people need that would make their lives easier, we're trying to work on that. And we are growing our team. I think the biggest challenge we've had is that the demand for support has grown with our donors and our camps beyond what I could do. So we just hired a new team member today, and we had another one start last month. So we have grown our team, and that's a huge blessing, because that is much needed to grow our impact for these kids and to be able to meet the needs. So we're really excited about that. So Mike, hopefully you'll get to meet them at convention. And Ben too, if you're going to be there. Are you going to be there?
Yeah, I'll be there. I mean, yep.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
And what's the best way for a campground owner to get involved? I mean, is there a spot where they can go on and sign up for something, or is it just contact you directly? What's the best way for them to plug in?
That's a great question. We don't have a sign up currently. It's just they can reach out to me directly, or they can just download the toolkit and get started. They don't have to reach out to me if they don't want to. I love getting to know people personally. That's obviously part of my joy, is getting to know our campground owners and finding out what I can do to support them. But they don't have to call me if they don't want to. So it's whatever is easiest. So Ben, do you mind putting up my email address and phone number? My phone number is
one second.
I'm always open to texts and
I will warn the owners that Jennifer can be quite relentless. So if you call, you're in for it.
You're in for it.
And you put your cell too. So that's like on you all the time. So
yeah, no, I pretty much end text messages and phone calls unless I'm at a conference. I'm terrible at responding to emails when I'm gone, but that's part of we're bringing in some administrative help, which is really great, because when I'm gone, it's 15-hour days every day. So we'll have somebody that can help respond to emails while I'm gone. But I try. I pretty much live, breathe, and eat Care Camps. That's my sole purpose in life. And Karen is the same way. Mike knows that. And she's not a campground owner anymore. So now she's really focused on Care Camps. This is everything we love. We love what we get to do every day. And
well, I think they just did that Do It Now tour, the New England RV Association or whatever. Maybe next year we can talk to Bob Zagami and get that thing wrapped in a Care Camps thing.
Oh, I love Bob. That would be super fun. Do It Now tour. That's great. Do It Now. Give to Care Camps. Do It Now tour. We're going to be creating some RV dealer toolkits as well. That's we're going to be unveiling those at the open house this year. So that'll be fun, because our dealers have huge giving hearts as well. So we want to make it easy for them to partner, bring in the whole industry.
Yeah,
well, it really is one of the few charities that links so directly to the business we're in, and it was just it's an easy feel good thing, and everybody had to have a cause, and cause it's not just cause marketing, but again, I think the campgrounds always see more come back in blessings than they ever give to the effort.
That's a good point, Mike. And I think that's so many of our campgrounds have said that the ones that are really passionate about giving have told us repeatedly that everything that they give, they get back tenfold, because their campers are so excited. Their teams are so excited by what they're doing. And that's really, those are the fun stories to hear about.
You've got information on the website too that will show them where all the camps are around North America also.
Yes, you can see.
I know a lot of owners like to see where the closest camp is, and over time, I think there's quite a few campground owners that have made a relationship with those people that run those local camps, and the parents and the camp directors, and some of the kids have come to camps and helped out with fundraising events too.
Yeah. And if you choose to support Care Camp, so when you make your donations, what we do our grants in an annual cycle. We can actually set you up to deliver your check to the closest camp. One thing to be aware of is the closest camp to you may not be where your local kids are going, which sounds crazy. But I just went to 3 Montana camps, and my first camp had no Montana kids in it. They were kids from all over the country. We have camps that specialize in different specific types of cancers. So kids will go, kids from Montana may go to Louisiana for a camp, or kids from Florida may come to Montana. It just really depends on the specific camp. Everyone is so unique and different. We have camps that are fully ADA accessible for kids in wheelchairs. Like Mike said, some of our kids have lost limbs or have had brain tumors. So just be aware that your kids locally may not go to the camp nearest you. It just really depends on the specifics. So,
well, thank you, Jennifer, for coming on. It's always great to catch up with you and learn about carecamps.org. Well, care camps, and you can read more at carecamps.org. And it's just great to catch up, Jennifer. I love seeing you in person.
I know, I love seeing you too. It's Mike, it's great to see you too. Please, anyone, if you have any questions, I love to hear from our campground owners and our partners. If you guys have any suggestions or ideas on potential partners, please feel free to reach out. Mercer@carecamps.org. And thank you guys so much for your time today.
Yeah, it was fun. Folks, this is a good outfit, and it's been around for a long time. It was started with the right heart in mind, and it's not going anywhere. It's something you should definitely get involved with.
Yeah. And Jennifer's definitely done a lot of work to give park owners the tools they need to be successful. So definitely explore it if you're looking to do something. So, well, thanks everyone for tuning in this week, and we'll see everyone next week.